start acting on these terrorist groups. Otherwise, we might be faced with a situation where Israel has been faced. Yet another part is that some of the people may have only been sympathizers. Some of the religious fundamentalists may have been sympathizers. But seeing this particular issue which is happening, the social cohesion which is existing today may also be affected. The fabric may further be damaged. So it's very important for us to take these points which are happening there, how they are likely to affect our nation. That's why I say it's such a contemporary issue, such a current topic which has been taken by people, that we need to discuss this. Yes. Another lesson one has learned is that Israel is always thought as invincible. It brings to the very important this thing saying that if at all you start becoming overconfident, it breeds to complacency. Israel thought that, look here, we have given them enough of bashing. They are now behaving well. They fell into the ruse. And the result is what? They became overconfident on their own capabilities. They became overconfident on the technological advances which Israel is very, very good at. Even though intelligence capabilities of Mossad is supposed to be the world's one of the finest intelligence organizations. It is just this overconfidence and complacency which has really affected this. That is how they were taken totally by surprise. For that matter, if you go back to even 1973, they hit Israel on the same day, maybe a day difference, 1 day difference. Yom Kippur War. In spite of that, people have become complacent. So it brings a very important lesson to us also on national security is concerned. There is no way at any point of time we can let your guard down. Top two are important. Information warfare is very important for each and every citizen in this nation to not to get carried away by whatever he sees. Nowadays we have this WhatsApp. Anything that comes, we just forward it without even checking whether it is fake or true or not. So information warfare has become one of the very biggest problems as far as we are concerned. So whatever we do, until unless we start becoming security conscious and ensure that information is vetted, synthesized and given in the correct form, we should not fall prey to it. Asymmetric warfare is another thing. You see, the thing is that in a conventional warfare, you might have a huge amount of armed forces which will be capable of taking on China. But in asymmetric warfare, even a small little drone, like for example, most of us have read it in the Russia-Ukraine war, tanks have been taken on by a small little drone which is flying and taking on the tank. Right? So asymmetric warfare has come to stay. While in conventional warfare, a proper army has to keep on hitting a terrorist. Remember that even if a terrorist hits at one place, like Bombay hit us, it becomes news. Moral ascendancy. The world over, our own people will start thinking that we are very weak on our own security. So we have to be aware of that particular issue that if at all terrorist hits even once, even if at all we've been able to hit the terrorist at least 10 times, it doesn't mean that we can become complacent or we can. Intelligence network, I'm sure Mr. Ved will also dwell on this a little more. I think there is a lot of ground for us to ensure that proper coordination takes place. We have been learning lessons, but we have not been able to really derive the best of the solutions so far. We still have our own empire buildings at places, whether it's armed forces separately or BSF or the police or IB or although there have been a lot of improvements post-Kargil and Subramanian Committee and all that, and even after Galwan also these things have been listed, but we still have a long way to go. So briefly, as far as military lessons are concerned, I've talked about complacency. Troops on ground. We are fortunate that way compared to Israel that We have not gone totally on technology. While electronic intelligence is very important to us, human intelligence remains another very important issue. Whether it is the police people who are there, or the BSF is there, the army is there, we still are fortunate that we have human intelligence compared to Israel very well in place. And the synthesis of human intelligence and electronic intelligence is what brings out the best. In armed forces, we say that it is not the machine. The man behind the machine is what matters. So that man who is right behind the machine, who is going to operate that machine, that intelligence is very important. We cannot neglect our minor tactics and drills at any stage, and we have to keep on changing our minor tactics and drills. Because of course, terrorists will always find some way. Like for example, when I was bringing this pen, this is pointer. Right. At the airport, he stopped me. He said, "Sir, your luggage requires extra check." And he said, "Sir, this is a knife, what is it?" So I have to tell him, "Look here, there is a pointer here, there is a pen here, and there is another pen drive inside." So I have to open it and show you. So technology is going leaps and bounds. This lady may be taking a lipstick chop, a chapstick, and suddenly she might throw it at the place. That is the type of thing which are happening. Right? The technology is going this thing. So our tactics and drills will have to start evolving. We have to think out of the box. Each and every citizen who is sitting amongst here in this place. Not only here, I tell in my own state in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, security consciousness has to increase. Security of isolated posts is important. It's very clear from the Hamas war that although they have beautifully, very well lit up areas, cameras, all these things were not guarded. So isolated, especially the command and control systems were hit by the Hamas. Technology is good, command control is okay. In defense, we talked about that they could saturate or super saturate the Iron Dome. Israel have always said that we will be able to retaliate anti-rocket. Story of Macron plan, I think this world is clear. That is, you think that you have created a huge defensive system. You create that, it can be beaten tomorrow. After all, if you look at what internet nowadays, you think that you have created a damn good password, and next day you realize that the password is broken. In armed forces, we have this what? Electronic warfare terminologies, ECM, electronic countermeasures, and then somebody comes up with some more electronic countermeasures. So it's an evolving science. The thief will always look for what is this chap thinking. So the terrorist is looking at where is the actual defense complacent. Where can I hit the least suspected, minimum surprise, maximum surprise, minimum preparedness. Offensive mindset is a thing which is coming up in the armed forces, and it has to come across in the entire nation as such as educated. It's very important. I think we have come a long way from Gandhian times of ahimsa to such an extent, showing this second side of the cheek. I think we have come a long way. Importance of land forces is well understood. We are quite okay with that. Urban warfare training is very important because by the time Israel realized what has happened, these people hit up Israel, including their headquarters. They could not even communicate. So it's a very major lesson we have to learn out of this particular entire operation of Hamas. So in one way, actually, we should be thankful to Hamas for teaching us these lessons. For us to be prepared for tomorrow. What can happen in J&K, what can happen around the border is very important. Village defense companies, I think we already started with that. Elite and human type problems. I will leave with a few points to ponder. Now, terrorist groups' legitimacy. The world is seriously concerned in this. Are we going to accept the legitimacy of this particular terrorist group? We already accepted with Taliban. US has just left the stage and went away. Similarly, Hamas is already ruling in this place. We have in Syria. Syria, of course, fortunately, Russia has brought it back to another kingdom. But as far as terrorists leading the country or ruling the country, and we are going to give it a legitimacy is what is the issue which we need to think about. Now, can we draw parallels of Hamas versus Israel to our nation? This is yet another important issue which we need to start thinking. We cannot just say that Hamas was a government, it was a ruling of a government of a particular country which has it. We can draw parallels. You might have a Hamas-like situation. Of course, you really put Pakistan on a particular thing. Possibly, yes, they are also certainly. One way of looking at it, they are interested in creating terrorism. They are interested in creating problems to India. So we need to be prepared for all sorts of terrorist actions. Pakistan also may start looking at it. If at all a small little organization like Hamas could do it against Israel, can we go in for bigger issues against India? Can we activate any of the sleeper cells which are possibly right now in a sleeper this thing in J&K? Can we increase our activities? These are the issues. I can't say it's clear on the writing is on the wall, but certainly we need to address these and keep thinking of this. Yes, fortunately, I don't think we have the Hamas, the way it has terrorized the population, Pakistan has not been able to get anywhere near our area, so we can leave that particular thing. Support for Arab countries not existing, yes. The point which I talked about Shia Sunni, irrespective of what are the divisions and further divisions within Islam, Islamization is one issue which will bring up all the Arab countries united together. What I look at it is, the Arab countries, some of them which what you are watching is a facade. Internally, there is adequate amount of financial support which goes, whether it is Qatar or any of these things, for 2-3 reasons. One is to ensure that certain terrorist groups are kept alive. The second most important thing, the way I look at it is that by putting these terrorists in a particular place, they are avoiding certain terrorist activities within their own country. After all, a large number of these are ruled by various princes and kings. What is seen on the outer this thing may not be the truth. It is quite likely, very likely, that some of these nations say, all right, if at all I keep this terrorist guy active to go and act somewhere, he is not becoming a menace to me in my own nation. Well, we have most active borders, terrorist groups not united. Yes, as of now, terrorist groups are not united. But it doesn't mean that these 5-6 terrorist groups are operating cannot get united. One may talk about we want to be with India, one might talk about we want to be separate Kashmir, we want to join POK. Take terrorist groups in Pakistan itself. You have Baluchis and down below there, then you have Gilgit area, different terrorist groups. As of now, you do not have the unity among terrorist groups. But when it comes to anti-India feeling, it is very likely that these people will get together. So this has got to be built into our intelligence gathering. Any of the short-term actions which we take must have a long-term perspective. At times what happens is we try and resolve an issue. There's a problem here and there, we say, all right, let's find a solution to it. But I think it's very important that the long-term perspective must always be kept in mind. Alliance where needed is a beautiful lesson which has come from Israel. We may not form a legal ally. That means we need not be part of a NATO or LAC or that sort of thing. Yet at the same time, we are great in one way that we have certain banks. After all, what happened in 1971? When suddenly we were going into Bangladesh, we looked at Russia, immediately went on to sign a treaty. The result is what? When the US brought in their 7th fleet into this thing, they could still not do anything, venture anything. So it's important. Israel right now, what has it done? It's got a very strong ally as US. US is like Kavach, like Maharaj Karn at the shield. It's like that. So, they do not have the strategic depth. But strategic depth in their case, they feel that is gained by having strategic alliance. So by having US on their part, Israel is achieving that. So we also need to take that lesson and use it where it's required. I'm not advocating by any chance to say that we need to follow that model. We are doing exceedingly well as a foreign policy, but we need to keep on watching these sort of issues, and that is what is going to affect our foreign policy. Well, this is what it is right now as far as Israel-Hamas war is concerned. But the important lesson is the relevance of the subject. I must compliment Dr. Ajay and his team for choosing such a subject, because the relevance of the subject will continue to remain. If somebody asks me, look here, will Israel-Hamas war ever end? I don't foresee that. As long as that ideology remains, I don't foresee an immediate solution to it. As a tactician or a strategist, if I was asked, I would dare say that, look here, I would like to wipe out entire Gaza. Netanyahu, let's say for a minute I'm Netanyahu standing here. Entire Gaza I would like to wipe out, displace these people to the West Bank, and then say, okay, now I'm ready for my two-state policy. No nation would like two pieces of enemies on either side. Right? So it's very important that we study this, watch this, and pick up these lessons and apply it in our situation. And I can't think of a better audience than this, who are being subjected, who have been subjected for years together to this terrorism, and are also victims in many ways. So once again, thank you all for this audience.